I want to talk about the breathing techniques that go along with the iron shirt postures. So you see the postures, we do the postures. Uh, those are the external displays of the iron shirt process. As just as important as those structural postures are the breathing aspects of it. So I just want to explain 5 types of breathing here, and then some exercises you can do as part of your breathing after that. And the benefits I just mentioned in the last segment really come from the breathing while you're in the structure. So I highly recommend integrating these in a little bit at a time. And the first one I want to talk about is natural breathing. Natural breathing is just like it sounds. You're getting in these postures, you're standing in them, and then you're just breathing. You're just breathing in deeply, breathing out. As you stay in the posture, you inhale and you exhale. That's it. Simple, not complicated, no mind, no mental involved in it. You're just breathing in and breathing out. And tremendous benefits, I believe, can come just from these different standing postures that you're doing. And just do that as you begin, as you're starting to learn. And as you're increasing your iron shirt standing from 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, however much time you're spending going through these various postures, start out with just the natural breathing and monitor your body, pay attention to your body as you go through these different breathings. The second one is abdominal breathing. And abdominal breathing is similar to natural breathing, but the emphasis is on expanding all parts of the abdomen. Imagine you've got like the G belt that we talked about, or you've got a inflatable inner tube around your belly as if you're getting ready to jump in the river and you're going to do a raft trip, float down, you've got this inner tube around you. Imagine that your abdomen expands on all 4 sides or 8 directions, however you want to think about that, as you're breathing in. So that focus is on a deeper breathing where the diaphragm moves down as you inhale, the abdomen expands on all sides, and then as you exhale, everything relaxes, the diaphragm comes up. So in the abdominal breathing, it's going up and down as you breathe. And as your diaphragm's moving, it's massaging those organs. So it goes down, massages the top of the adrenals, gently putting pressure on the kidneys. It moves down in the intestines, spleen, stomach, liver, gently pressing down as it goes up and down from that abdominal breathing. Now, the next one that I want to talk about is a little more involved. It's called reverse breathing. And reverse breathing is more or less the opposite or the reverse of your abdominal breathing. So as you inhale in the reverse breathing, your abdomen comes in. All right, you're not letting your belly and your sides and your back go out as you inhale. You're holding them in, and as you inhale, the diaphragm still goes down. The lower part here of your abdomen stays in, and it creates a little more of a packing or condensing effect with your internal organs. So the reverse breathing, and the main thing to think about and to watch out for here in your reverse breathing is as you inhale, you don't want the diaphragm staying up here. Okay, you don't want the lungs to be shallow and only get in this depth. You still want to have the depth of the abdominal breathing with the diaphragm moving up and down, but the lower part of your abdomen stays in. And so you're generating over, a few breaths, generating that pressure there, and then just let it go. So just start at a time or two, and it may even be better to do it seated. Practice the reverse breathing a few times seated, even for a few weeks seated, and then slowly integrate it into these postures that you're doing. So this is the first one that I'm going to say you need to be a little more careful with, is the reverse breathing, because a lot of pressure can get generated, and especially if your diaphragm doesn't move as freely as it did in the abdominal breathing, it can stay up here, as I said, and some pressure can get here in your heart, in your lungs. Too much heat can get up here. And so that's why we want to practice the abdominal breathing a number of times for a while, a couple months. There's no rush here. You get tremendous benefit from just the natural breathing and the abdominal breathing. you choose to move into the reverse breathing, be sure that your diaphragm is able to move. You just do it gently. And I've got a section on precautions that I'm going to introduce later in this video that will help prevent some of the side effects that could happen from too much reverse breathing. But the main thing is to be gentle with yourself, take it easy, and have fun here. Smile, but what we don't want to do is get too intense about this. The next type of breathing is packing breathing, and packing breathing can also create some side effects of too much energy. So I prefer to approach the packing breathing with a much more gentle approach. Now, the intense packing breathing can look like some intense martial arts where you're flexing everything, and you're really trying to pack energy. That's a little too young, a little too aggressive. I don't recommend doing that without the guidance and help of a Healing Down instructor face to face in a personal retreat setting. And even then, you have to be very careful about it, and you have to make sure that they're taking you through it in a safe way. I prefer to approach the packing in a much more gentle way, back and forth with the earth. So it's almost like I'm breathing up and down with the earth, like my natural breathing, back and forth with the earth in a slow, gradual way. I'll just focus on my kidneys, and as I'm staying in this posture, for instance, or any of the postures, of course, I'll breathe back and forth from my kidneys through my feet to the earth and back up, like the earth is breathing with me through a specific organ at that time. I don't focus much on wrapping energy around them. I just feel like submersing them in the energy of the earth and bringing that up through my legs is a gentle way of packing, and having it firmly integrated with the energy of the earth is safe, effective, has a grounding effect. There have been times I was going through stress in my life, or it seemed like a lot of things were coming at me from all sides, and I didn't know what else to do except breathe from my organs, take the emotions in those organs, breathe down to the earth and back up. And I really got a lot of relief at it. Whenever, talking wouldn't help, thinking certainly didn't help. There's no way I could think about it anymore. Drugs didn't help. Just breathing back and forth from the earth is what helped me. So that gentle, even packing isn't the best way, I don't think, to describe it. It's more of just, it's like the earth's loving you. It's like you're making love with the earth from each individual organ is another way to describe it, instead of packing as a little more intense or yang. Bone breathing is another aspect of the iron shirt breathing. It's the fifth one I want to talk about here. And bone breathing, it can be done just standing straight up. It can be done as part of any of these postures. But what you're doing here is just feeling the bones open up as hollow tubes. And you're feeling like liquid light going through from the arms, through the hands, around the rib cage, every bone that you got, the cranium, feeling it expand and condense, feeling the bones open and close with each inhale and exhale. And just as we focus on the diaphragm and the organs, we're focusing on the bones, feeling them open, letting chi and energy go in from our oxygen, up from the earth, down from the heavens, from the stars and sun and moon, into our bones. So the bone breathing, the bones are really our deepest part of ourself. They're the most dense part. Every once in a while, National Geographic will report that they found a caveman and they found his skeleton. So, thousands of years later, his bones are still intact. The teeth, which are the bones that we see, those are what are used to identify us. When nothing else can identify us, our bones and our teeth are still intact, and they can help identify us. So our bones are really strong, our densest part of ourself, which means the greatest opportunity, the hardest to get to, but the greatest opportunity for growth and for embodiment. And as we've said before, the emotions begin and are stored in the organs. And when the organs get full of negative emotions or toxins, for instance, they fill up, go to the muscles, they go to the tendons, and when there's no more room for those toxins or negative emotions, they go into the bones. Bones are like the basement. They get stuffed in there. And so we want to open those bones up. We want to open those bones up We want to breathe chi into them. We want to feel energy filling our bones. We want to work the 6 healing sounds to detoxify those bones through breathing. We want to circulate energy through the microcosmic orbit. We want to practice all these techniques on a lot of different levels, because as you start to awaken the bones, you're going to awaken emotions and energies that have been there for a while that have been suppressed and ignored. So be aware of that, and be sure that you're doing this whole iron shirt practice with the grounding, the rooting, the breathing, the meditation techniques of the inner smile, the 6 healing sounds, and of the microcosmic orbit. Now the last thing here are some exercises for breathing, and it's just as simple as taking your hands and putting them in different places as you're breathing in and out. So, how do I know if I'm breathing down to my kidneys? Well, I put my hands on my kidneys and I inhale. How do I know if I'm able to breathe into my sides of my abdomen? Well, I breathe in until it pushes against my fingertips. So that's the main exercise. And the other one is massaging that diaphragm, keeping it loose, keeping it open, some gentle patting around your organs here. And then I've got a list of precautions that I want you to think about, and that'll come later in the video. But I really appreciate you making it this far. This breathing is an integral part of the system, and I think you'll start to see major benefits as you start to integrate it with your postures. Thank you.